Kody Brown has always seen himself as the strong patriarch holding everything together despite the constant strain. But this time, things might be different. The weight of it all could finally break him. According to insiders, he lost it after a recent child support ruling. Storming out of the courtroom, his eyes wild with anger, muttering to anyone who would listen that the judgment would destroy him financially. And he wasn't just venting. He told the judge, word for word, that the decision would bankrupt him. Later, in the parking lot, when the court clerk caught up with him, Kody didn't back down. He reportedly snapped, saying he wouldn't be forced into paying for children who had been, in his words, turned against him. Christine, still inside gathering the final paperwork, apparently didn't hear Kody's outburst. But her attorney did, and whispers in the courthouse say they were already bracing for Kody's next move before he even made it. An appeal that could drag this financial battle out for months. This wasn't just a surprise, it was a shock. The child support ruling hit harder than Kody ever imagined. The payments were far more than he expected, and the retroactive clause stretched back over a year. To make matters worse, Christine allegedly had everything in order: school invoices, medical bills, even Venmo screenshots, leaving Kody with little ground to argue. "He's livid," said one family friend, but they added, "It's his own fault for treating child support like some personal vendetta. It's not revenge. It's just the reality he has to face." Still, Kody isn't backing down. He's already spinning the story, telling those close to him that Christine blindsided him, claiming the judge was biased, and insisting that the numbers don't match his current financial situation. But the most telling part? He's openly threatening to appeal, and not in secret. The talk of an appeal started before the ink on the court order had even dried. Sources close to Robin say Kody spent the entire night pacing their living room, ranting about false numbers and calling the judgment a political attack. But those close to the family believe the threat of an appeal isn't about seeking justice, it's about buying time. "He's stalling, plain and simple," one source claimed. "If he can drag this out long enough, maybe he won't have to pay. Or maybe, just maybe, he's hoping Christine will eventually back down." The irony: by pushing for an appeal, Kody may have unknowingly opened the door to a deeper financial investigation. One that could require him to turn over everything: his income, his spending habits, and even past financial transfers. And if those documents come to light, a mess might go far beyond a few missed payments. Word is, one of the financial transfers flagged by Christine's legal team happened just days before the judge made their ruling. And guess whose name is allegedly attached to that transaction? That's right, Kody's. That's when things got really complicated. By the time Christine's team slid that document across the courtroom table, Kody's whole demeanor shifted. Gone was the defiant bravado. On was the familiar victim of the system routine. For a brief moment, those present said Kody looked genuinely rattled, and that's saying something. What Christine's attorney slid across the table wasn't just another bank statement. It was a highlighted transaction from one of the family's old joint accounts. A transfer made within 72 hours of the child support hearing. Nearly $15,000, moved out, just like that. No explanation, just a single line that read, "That family needs." Now, that alone might have slipped under the radar, but the real kicker? The account had been dormant for over a year. Christine's team claims Kody reactivated it, and while there's no formal accusation of wrongdoing on record, behind closed doors, sources say Christine's camp believes it was a calculated move, a deliberate attempt to move assets out of reach before the judgment came down. When Insider put it bluntly, Christine didn't accuse him of fraud. She didn't need to. All she had to do was slide that paper across the table and wait. When the judge saw it, sources say they paused, looked straight at Kody, and asked, "Is there anything you'd like to clarify?" Kody didn't clarify. He went silent, and in that silence, more was said than any words could convey. According to courtroom buzz, that moment sealed the deal. The judge had already been leaning in Christine's favor, but the surprise evidence turned the ruling from a mere formality into a full-blown reckoning. Now, legal analysts are weighing in, and they're saying, you don't move that kind of money right before a support hearing unless you're bracing for a verdict you don't want. One retired family court mediator shared, "And when you do it from a dormant account, that raises red flags." Meanwhile, Robin, who wasn't at the hearing, is reportedly fuming behind the scenes, not just about the child support, but about how her household is now being dragged through the mud. The word around Flagstaff is that the money didn't just vanish into thin air. It may have ended up somewhere all too familiar. Several fans online have even started connecting the dots, matching the transfer date with a luxury delivery photographed right outside Robin's home that very same week. Coincidence? Maybe, but social media sleuths aren't convinced. One fan posted, "You don't move 15 grand and then suddenly have new outdoor furniture and Amazon deliveries showing up. The optics are terrible, the timing washer dryer." Sources claim this transfer might just be one of several that Christine's team quietly flagged while building their case. One former family friend even hinted that Kody all the man wanted to pay for the money, whether he was making me or waiver, and also wanted to pay for the money, all of which was making more difficult to capture while making me as one part of a green wall. And you also have to keep anyone friendly to worry your case. But when you look at the pattern as a whole, it allegedly tells a very different story. And the next transfer, that might just blow everything wide open. When Christine left the courthouse, she didn't look victorious. She looked vindicated. There's a difference. Winning is about numbers. Vindication is about principle. And according to someone close to her legal team, that's exactly how she framed it behind closed doors. This wasn't about punishing Kody, she reportedly told her attorney. It was about what their kids deserve. Period. And by the looks of it, Christine came fully prepared. Sources say she'd been quietly gathering financial evidence for months. Every bounced tuition check, every ignored dentist bill, every textbook she paid for herself while Kody was off prioritizing his main household. That phrase came up a lot. Main household. It wasn't just about the money. It was about what that money represented. Because, as Christine sees it, Robin's household wasn't just Kody's legal wife. It was his financial sanctuary, and everything outside of it was disposable, even the kids. And that, insiders say, is what stung the most.
Kody and Robin shared everything. They shared the house payments, they shared the utilities, they shared everything.
One source close to the family revealed that Christine had hoped for a quiet resolution, a way to settle things privately. But Kody's stubborn refusal to acknowledge his financial responsibility to the children who don't live under Robin's roof forced her to take a different route. I am so far from the prayer of the last mother in the circumstances of her brain. It wasn't long before her attorney uncovered a troubling trail of PayPal receipts and matching bank withdrawals, and just like that, the private option was off the table. The receipts told a compelling story. Over the course of 5 months, small deposits, often under $2,000, were sent from an account tied to one of the family's LLCs, with the receiving account being an online business under Robin's name. While no one has officially accused anyone of hiding money, Christine's attorney didn't need to make such an accusation. The pattern alone is enough, they reportedly said. Fans on social media have already dubbed it the PayPal trail, and it's quickly becoming a symbol of how far Christine had to go just to secure what should have been settled months ago. While Kody was quietly transferring funds, Christine was working behind the scenes. With the help of a close friend who's rumored to be an accountant, she began matching calendar dates with family events, trying to pinpoint when the most significant withdrawals took place. What stood out the most? The timing. The largest PayPal transfer on record occurred the same weekend as Robin's birthday. A weekend when Kody didn't visit any of his kids outside her household. Not a single phone call, according to one teen who reportedly told a friend. Instead, there was just silence and a luxury spa booking in Sedona that was posted online before the photos were deleted. If even half of what Christine uncovered is true, this goes beyond missed payments. This is a pattern, and patterns are what courts care about. They reveal behavior, priorities, and neglect, and the next thing the judge will likely focus on is where that $15,000 actually went. Robin may not have been present in the courtroom, but her presence loomed large. No one had to call her name. The money kept pointing straight to her door. After the ruling, multiple sources claimed that Robin went completely silent, refusing to respond to group chats and, more than ever, leaning into her role as Kody's only true partner. But while she's silent, her spending allegedly isn't. That $15,000 transfer Christine's attorney flagged, it matched down to the date and the amount of a luxury furniture invoice posted by a Flagstaff interior design vendor just days earlier. Though the post was deleted, fans had already screenshot it. One eagle-eyed Reddit user even pointed out that the company only had one client in that gated hillside community. And it wasn't hard to guess who that might be. And this isn't just an isolated incident. Insiders claim Robin's been quietly remodeling parts of her home over the past 6 months. New lighting fixtures, updated bedroom suites, outdoor upgrades. None of it cheap. A former neighbor even told a local blog that delivery trucks had become a regular fixture, sometimes showing up late into the evening. It's like watching a Pinterest board come to life. They joked. But for the rest of the Brown family, it's anything but funny. While Robin's carefully curated aesthetic is flourishing, Christine had to fight tooth and nail just to get help for tuition for a teen who's already applying to colleges. The imbalance is glaring, and fans are taking note. After the court documents went public, social media exploded. Hashtags like, "Where is the money?" and "Brown family receipts" started trending, with users sharing side-by-side shots of Robin's home upgrades versus the modest setups in the other households. One TikTok creator even made a video using Robin's own words about unity and fairness, with a sarcastic voiceover saying, "Sure, Jan," as a backdrop. One fan's comment summed it up. Left double quotation mark said, "He couldn't afford Christine's back support while Robin was ordering custom drapes. You can't make this up." And the truth is, those optics matter, especially in court. Legal experts say when one parent is visibly living in luxury while the other is struggling to pay for basic needs, it strengthens the argument for enforcement. Judges don't like games, one family law analyst explained. If they get even a hint that one party is hiding behind another's name or assets, they'll start issuing subpoenas. And sources say that's exactly what Christine's team might be preparing for: formal access to Robin's business accounts. The real question isn't whether Kody paid or didn't pay. It's whether funds meant for the children were diverted to luxury furniture, boutique headboards, and even that infamous doll room. Rumor has it the kids are finally speaking out about what they've seen behind closed doors. It's one thing for ex-wives to fight over finances, but when the kids start weighing in, the entire narrative shifts. And according to multiple insiders, Kody wasn't ready for the amount of resentment that had built up in silence. It wasn't until after the court ruling leaked that some of the older children allegedly began to open up about what they'd witnessed in Robin's home and what they'd gone without in theirs. One young adult reportedly told a close friend, "I had to drop out of school for a semester because no one would co-sign my loan." Meanwhile, Robin's kids got brand new MacBooks for their homeschooling suite. It was like we didn't even exist. That kind of raw frustration doesn't disappear. It festers. And insiders say Christine's legal team knows it. They're reportedly gathering statements, messages, and even receipts from some of the adult children who've quietly supported their mother. This isn't about dragging Robin or the younger kids into the fight. It's about illustrating what one insider called a clear pattern of selective parenting. While that might not be legal jargon, it's a powerful argument in court, especially when there's proof to back it up. One daughter even reportedly showed evidence that Kody missed her birthday 3 years in a row, while sending pricey gifts to Robin's youngest twice in the same month. But it's not just about birthdays or laptops. One of the most emotionally charged stories comes from a teen who allegedly spoke up in a private online group, saying they had to skip senior pictures because no one could afford the photo package. The same weekend, Robin shared a glowing update about redecorating her foyer. Within hours, the post vanished, but not before screenshots had already begun circulating. Christine, who's remained quiet on the specifics, is reportedly no longer trying to protect Kody's image. She used to tell her kids, "Don't badmouth your dad," but now she's telling them, "Speak your truth." And that's exactly what they're doing. Kody's reaction to this emotional shift? It's been nothing short of volatile. According to one source, he recently stormed out of a family group Zoom call after one of his sons asked, "Why is there always money for Robin's things, but never for our college applications?" Kody didn't answer. He just logged off. That moment has been recounted through text threads and secondhand accounts, becoming symbolic of the whole mess. The silence, the favoritism, the refusal to take responsibility unless legally forced. And now, as the emotional damage spills out into public view, Kody's image is facing another unexpected hit. Because while he stood in court claiming he couldn't afford to support all his children, he was allegedly seen test driving a luxury SUV, one that costs more than a year of college tuition. And what color was that luxury vehicle? Robin's favorite shade of deep metallic blue. It's always about the optics, and this time the timing couldn't have been worse. Less than 24 hours after Kody told the court that his income wasn't stable enough to support the requested child support payments, he was allegedly spotted at a high-end dealership near Flagstaff, not just browsing, but test driving a Mercedes SUV. A fan posted the sighting in a private Facebook group, saying Kody seemed very comfortable behind the wheel. When asked if he was trading in another car, he reportedly laughed and said, "Nope, this one's just for me." The story quickly spread. Screenshots, anonymous tips, even grainy cell phone images showing the distinctive chrome grille and dealership tags. There's no confirmed purchase yet, but the fact that he was even considering it sent a clear message. This wasn't a man struggling to make ends meet. This was someone whose version of bankruptcy looked a lot different than most people's. Legal experts say this could haunt him in court. If Christine's attorney pushes to subpoena Kody's purchases post-ruling, and a large down payment shows up on his statements, it could significantly damage his credibility. But here's where things get messier. Sources say this wasn't just a random splurge, it might have been funded. Rumors are swirling that the money used to secure the Mercedes wasn't all Kody's. Some insiders speculate that Robin may have co-signed the deal or funneled family assets to make it happen. If this is true, and there's no solid proof yet, it could completely unravel the image Kody tried to create in court. Remember, he claimed to be financially separate from Robin, insisting they kept their finances entirely separate, that she had her own obligations. Now, there's allegedly a luxury vehicle on the road that might say otherwise. The court of public opinion is already drawing its conclusions. Imagine telling a judge you can't afford child support and then driving off in a Mercedes. One TikTok user posted, "He's not even trying to hide it anymore." Another fan shared a satirical breakdown of Kody's expenses. Hair products, $800. Child support, $0. Mercedes test drive, priceless. The humor cuts because it hits so close to the truth, and it's being amplified by the growing feeling that Kody's lifestyle is being protected while Christine and the other kids are forced to justify every penny. And just when it seemed like Kody couldn't look any worse, a quiet voice from the sidelines emerged. Mary. She hasn't said a word publicly in months, but behind the scenes, she's reportedly sitting on financial records of her own. Records tracing back to a family payout that was supposed to be split evenly. But when Mary finally tallied her share, she came up $75,000 short. Mary's always been the quiet one. Even when everything seemed to fall apart, she stayed in the background, posting cryptic quotes, avoiding direct attacks, keeping her head down. But that didn't mean she wasn't watching. According to someone close to her, she's been tracking every penny that passed through the family's shared accounts for years. The shocker? She didn't come forward earlier because she thought the numbers would eventually balance out. But now, watching Kody claim poverty in court, seeing Christine scramble for child support while Robin upgrades her chandeliers, Mary's patience has finally worn thin. What set her off wasn't the Mercedes, or even the spa rumors. It was a quiet audit. See, when Mary decided to expand her bed and breakfast and apply for a small business grant, her accountant friend asked a simple question. "Mrs. May, pay." Left double quotation mark, was your total payout when the family dissolved its joint assets in late 2022? When they pulled the numbers, the math didn't add up. Mary's expected share should have been over $150,000. Instead, what landed in her business account was just under $175,000. The rest? Gone. No explanation, no memo. Just a transfer into a family fund no one seems to remember authorizing. That discovery reportedly pushed Mary into full documentation mode. Emails, bank statements, even text messages with Kody about how the remaining funds would be recalculated later. But later never came. Now, as Kody spins stories of financial ruin and Christine fights to track down where the money disappeared, Mary's documents may be the final piece of the puzzle. Because if it turns out that Kody used part of Mary's payout for Robin's household or to cover his own bills while refusing to support Christine's kids, his claim of being equally supportive to all his wives completely crumbles. Both Christine and Janelle have suspected something wasn't right for months. One source close to both women revealed they had a feeling Mary wasn't getting her fair share, but Mary had been so tight-lipped that they didn't want to press. But now, the two of them are allegedly working together behind the scenes, comparing timelines, cross-referencing bank records, and piecing together exactly how much was taken and when. The emotional irony here is heavy. Mary never wanted to be part of the drama, not after everything that happened with Kody, not after all the public humiliation, but even she has a breaking point. Watching Christine walk into court alone only for Kody to claim that child support would bankrupt him was the last straw. "He destroyed us first," Mary allegedly said to a friend. Now, he wants sympathy? Let him explain where the missing $75,000 went before anyone feels sorry for him. But here's the twist. Kody might not even have the option to explain anymore. As this financial house of cards starts to crumble, someone recently pulled the land records for Coyote Pass, and guess what's suddenly due? A massive six-figure balloon payment. Coyote Pass, the so-called promised land, the dream parcel that Kody once swore would bring the family together, has instead turned into a financial anchor. And according to new documents, it might be sinking Kody fast. Buried in the fine print of the purchase agreement is a clause that's now coming due, a $125,000 balloon payment due this quarter, with no extensions, no second chances. And according to a county records clerk who spoke anonymously, the payment is imminent. The file has already been flagged for action. If Kody thought he could ride out this child support battle without touching the land, that fantasy is over. Insiders say his appeal threat isn't just about pushing back, it's about buying time. Time to move money around, time to shuffle assets, time to avoid the one thing he allegedly fears the most, foreclosure. If Kody can't make that balloon payment, and if the account tied to it has already been drained by home improvements or luxury purchases, then the lost Coyote Pass wouldn't just be a personal failure, it would be a public collapse of the image he spent years maintaining. Worse, court insiders say Christine's legal team is already eyeing Coyote Pass as part of a possible lien strategy. If Kody defaults on payments, the court could allow collection through property, explained a family law expert. That's not uncommon when liquid assets are inconsistent or hidden. And if Mary joins forces with Christine, as rumored, suddenly 2/3 of the original lives will have a vested interest in reclaiming what was promised to them. And then there's Janelle. She was the one most emotionally tied to that land. She camped there, she dreamed there, and eventually she walked away from it. But whispers from her side suggest that maybe she isn't as done with Coyote Pass as everyone thought. Sources close to Janelle say she's considering a bold move, offering to settle with Kody, waiving her share of retroactive child support in exchange for full rights to the land she originally claimed. She just wants peace. She's tired of fighting, the insider said. But if Kody won't pay what he owes, then he needs to give her something. It's a high-stakes move, one that Kody is reportedly furious about. Because if he accepts, it means admitting he can't pay what the court ordered. It's a high-stakes offer, and one that has Kody reportedly seething with frustration. Accepting it would mean admitting to something he's fought to deny, that he simply can't pay the court-ordered child support. And the truth is, this would be more than just a financial concession. It would be a public acknowledgement of his failure to meet his obligations. But as the pressure mounts from all sides, Kody might find himself backed into a corner, forced to make decisions that undermine the very image he's tried so hard to protect. And if Janelle pushes forward with her plan, it could be the final blow to the fragile facade Kody has built, exposing the cracks for everyone to see. But declining the offer could tip the scales towards seizure, or worse. Everything is coming to a head at a pace no one saw coming. Just late last night, Christine's lawyer filed for an emergency hearing, and by the crack of dawn, it was already underway. Sunrise brought sirens, at least metaphorically. By the time Kody had his first cup of coffee, the emergency hearing was already in full swing. His legal team received the notice less than 12 hours before, and they were scrambling to prepare. According to courthouse chatter, Christine's lawyer filed the motion late in the evening, citing urgent concerns over asset liquidation and non-compliance. In other words, she believed Kody was actively moving money to avoid paying the court-ordered support. The Mercedes sighting, the deleted luxury furniture post, the dormant account reactivation, Christine's lawyer didn't have to raise their voice. She let the paper trail speak for itself. The courtroom, though small and closed to the public, was anything but calm. Kody arrived looking exhausted, accompanied by only one attorney. Robin was nowhere to be found. For the first time in a long time, Kody reportedly looked cornered. Christine's team didn't just come with receipts, they came with a motion to freeze accounts. Not permanently, just until the financial records could be fully reviewed. It was a protective measure, one legal analyst explained. Courts take this action when they suspect someone is trying to outmaneuver a judgment. And that's exactly what Christine's team argued, that upon realizing he'd be hit with back payments, Kody began shifting funds, either into Robin's name or into non-liquid assets like vehicles and home upgrades. The Mercedes wasn't the smoking gun, it was the pattern surrounding it. When Mary's accountant friend submitted a sworn statement confirming a missing payout from their old family LLC, the judge reportedly nodded slowly, then turned to Kody and asked the same question Christine's lawyer had asked months ago. Can you account for every transfer made after October? Sources say Kody was blindsided. He hadn't expected Mary to jump in. He hadn't expected her quiet ledger to become part of the case. But there it was, on record, under oath, documented down to the date and dollar. Suddenly, the threat of an appeal seemed almost laughable. Because if the court believes there's intentional financial evasion at play, they can not only deny the appeal but impose penalties, fines, garnishments, even audits. And let's just say an audit is the last thing Kody wants right now. At one point during the hearing, Christine reportedly sat calmly, her expression unreadable. A source in the room said, "She didn't flinch, she didn't gloat. She just like someone who'd waited years to be heard." Meanwhile, Kody's foot tapped uncontrollably under the table. His lawyer requested a continuance, but the judge refused. When the session ended, Christine walked out with her team, quiet, steady, composed. But just before the door closed behind her, Kody allegedly muttered under his breath, "This isn't over." He was right, it wasn't. Someone had just leaked who really paid for Kody's legal retainer. And it wasn't him. Turns out, Kody didn't walk into that courtroom broke. He walked in bankrolled, but not by his own wallet. According to two independent sources with knowledge of the legal filings, Kody's initial retainer, which was estimated to be just over $20,000, was allegedly covered by an outside party. Not a loan, not a gift from a sibling, but a direct payment from an LLC linked to a small boutique business registered under Robin's name. The revelation came from a recent court filing where Christine's team requested documentation of how Kody planned to fund his appeal. That document, which hasn't been made public, reportedly included the name of the entity responsible for the payment. When Mary caught wind of the LLC, her reaction was reportedly just two words: "Of course." If this is true, it completely undermines one of Kody's central claims, that Raman's finances are separate and that she plays no role in his legal battles. This isn't just shared bank accounts, it's strategic support, and with that support comes control. As one insider put it, Robin's not just in Kody's corner, she's holding the playbook and writing the checks. The optics are devastating. While Kody tells the court he's unable to provide for the children he helped raise, Robin is allegedly covering his legal bills, upgrading her home, and staying out of the courtroom altogether. That combination of silence, luxury, and financial leverage is not sitting well with fans. Online reactions to the leaked retainer details were swift. "So, Christine has to sue for dental bills, but Robin gets to sponsor Kody's courtroom pity tour?" one commenter wrote. Another added, "He's not broke. He's just funded by the wife who benefits from him staying broke." As the dust settles, Christine's position has never been stronger. The judge hasn't yet ruled on the motion to freeze assets, but legal experts say the odds are tipping in her favor. "The court is seeing a pattern," one analyst explained. "When there's financial inconsistency and selective disclosure, judges don't hesitate to act." With the appeal hanging by a thread and Kody reportedly fuming behind the scenes, more isolated than ever, what comes next may not even be legal. With Mary, Janelle, and Christine now quietly aligned in coordinated solidarity, there's talk of something deeper, perhaps a public statement, a joint sit-down, or even a potential book or docuseries that will finally lay out exactly what happened behind the scenes, financially, emotionally, and structurally. For the first time in years, the women who once stood beside Kody are finding power without him. And if they speak, the house of cards could finally come tumbling down. So, as the drama unfolds, what do you think? Should Kody be held legally accountable for every dime that's allegedly been funneled out of family accounts? And does Robin's financial backing make her complicit, or is it just a strategic move? Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because this story is far from over. The next video on your screen is waiting, and trust us, you won't want to miss it.